Oh, wait. Hello and welcome to this live. And it's Hood Week, apparently. Welcome to another Not Even Iced Anymore Coffee Chronicle. So, I have this. I don't have my glasses. I never did locate them. So, that will be interesting. This will be interesting. I think I'm going to use the Archeo. Anyway, I've been seeing a lot. I've seen, I think, two different words. I have the Edge of Eternities. Remember this one? That said, okay, give me one moment. I do have some glasses that I can put on because I'm gonna I'm gonna have to see something. Um, I've been seeing a lot. I've seen twice, and I don't think they were the same word, but it was like a. One second, I'm distracted. Distraction. Why didn't you have your glasses before you went live? Are these readers? No. I feel like, actually, I felt like they were here. Well, this may be one of those lives where I don't read books and stuff. Sure, let's just go with that. I know that you shouldn't mix coffee and alcohol, but here we are. It will only be a shot, I promise. I just like I'm ready to be done with this. Rum. Rum, bum, bum, bum. Maybe in a second, maybe not. Anyway, it's fine. So, the Edge of Eternities. I've been seeing, excuse me, I saw twice, and I think there were different words. It's this whole, like, I don't even know how to properly, like, describe it. But it was like, let's say you have a sentence, and it's this literary device or whatever, where it's like you use the same thing, like it's a compound sentence, and it's like there's one word that is either used twice and it means different things, or there's one word that refers to multiple things, but it recontextualizes it in some kind of way, right? And at first I saw it and I was like, okay. And then I think the first time I was like, I don't really get it. And then the second time was in this A to Z grammar, literature, English, whatever. And it was the Z. And I was like, oh, I feel like I've seen this recently. And so what's come out recently is this whole like court of like, court of man, divine law. And I was like, oh, I could do something with that if I have enough brain. But also after the read yesterday, um, I don't know, the magician came back to mind and the whole divinity and man, powers of spirit. And I was like, oh, okay, yeah. Anyway, so this Edge of Eternity is Battle for the Fate of a Dying Star. There was something on the back of this. I can kind of read it on the camera. At the edge of the known multiverse, a star system teeters on the brink of disaster. Chart a course through Sotera and explore distant planets, wield dazzling magic, and wage war with alien factions. Just steer clear of the unstable supervoid at the center of the system, unless you choose to harness the vast chaotic energies within. It's that whole unless you choose to harness the vast chaotic energies within. And again, we've seen in the Dynasty in the Revelations edition, it may have come out in both, but in the SKT Revelations edition, the Dynasty came out where there was a flower in the void, where what was a void, there is no life because of that magician and this whole thing, right? So the plan was to just get one of these, but if I'm not, if I'm not going to be able to read it, then it's fine. But yeah, so this is one of those, I don't know, sometimes it's one of those no chat lives, like where I turn the chat off. Or I just, well, yeah, I turned it off because it was on. Being symbolic of, and this is also a thing I've been experiencing a lot watching this TV show lately. And it's done. It's that, like, sometimes you have to keep watching, right? So take it as it resonates, if it resonates. And if you don't take it. But maybe it's like, listen, you're already listening. But anyway, sometimes it's the sentiment behind it. And then it's like, yeah, anyway, I want one of these. I would love my glasses. All right, it's fine. Who was that? I didn't remember there being a token here. A token artifact creature? A robot. Oh, I remember the lander from the other side. I don't remember this robot. Actually, do I? Because that reminds me of Phanuel, Angel of Truth. And again, the energy of Phanuel, the Angel of Truth, has come out in that whole, like, the Angel of Truth waits by the throne. So it's like the contingency is there if there is ever to be a visitor. And like how it's reading, it's almost like there's this robot that maintains a place, right? Because ultimately it's still a place of importance. So you'd like it to be pristine, or a PAP, as pristine as possible. And so there's like this robot doing its routine, whatever. And then, like, all of a sudden, someone walks in. And it's like, oh, a visitor. Who, there hasn't been a visitor since ever. Type energy. Actually, I don't know if Phanuel is in that deck, but I'm gonna use not that one. There's an Angelarium deck. Excuse me. The newest Angelarium deck that came out. Oracle of Emanations? Or is Oracle of Emanations the first one? Oracle of the Fallen. Again, I don't know if Phanuel is in this deck. There's a few angels that this could remind me of. Is that Sariel Angel of the Waning Moon at the bottom? I don't have my glasses. It's fine. Is this it? Maybe. Is that a mask? Maybe it's a good thing I don't have my glasses. Is this not a floating mask? Like right here? It's giving a floating mask. I don't know how I feel about that quite yet. Azazel? Interesting. Okay. All right, let's get one of these. An Angelarium, Oracle of the Fallen Oracle. Ooh, that was, and it says Azazel because of course not. I mean, of course it is. Bottom of the deck is Pura, Angel of something. Angel of Forgetting. Does that have to do with this mask? This is maybe not. On a completely separate note, when I saw the mask, it made me think of Visages and he who guards truth with lies. And I don't know if this plays into because we've seen it a few times. Like it's important to be mindful of like one's truest desires. Excuse me, because so there's this game that I was literally just playing and I've already beat in, and there is this. I don't want to spoil it. Hmm. There's a mission that people are on, and there's another character that it's like their missions are the same, but their desires and their desired outcomes are different. Their missions are the same, and their desired outcomes are literally the complete opposite. He who guards the truth with lies knows the truth of the situation, and the others don't, right? So they go on this whole mission under a certain impression, making certain assumptions because of what things look like. And if that's all you have to go off of, then like those are perfectly valid, perfectly logical. Those are perfectly logical and perfectly reasonable conclusions to make. Although untrue, they're perfectly logical and perfectly reasonable with the information that's available. He who guards the truth with lies doesn't tell them that their mission will not result in the outcome that they desire. He just continues to build trust upon the fact that their mission is the same. Again, I don't necessarily know how, I mean, I guess maybe we're still early in it yet, but it's like they built trust, the trust was tested, they built more trust based upon the mission. And again, it's like it was easier for them to be deceived because that was their communicated objective. It wasn't the outcome. And again, he who guarded the truth with lies knew that it wouldn't result in the outcome that they wanted. but they were already convinced that it would. So who was he to say otherwise? No, this is different. This okay, that's fine. Okay. I'm just like, OMG. I'm not regretting going live at all. It's just like, okay, this is what we're here for. Um, so is again, I don't have my glasses, so I can't just read. I can show you though. Azazel is the one that came out. Angel of Sacrifices. Angel of Sacrifices and the Angel of Forgetting. Wow. What an interesting combination. But again, like that's the whole I think that's the thing about making sacrifices too. Because even in that, there are a lot of people who made sacrifices. Everyone on that trip made sacrifices. Um, and it's unfortunate, I guess, when sacrifices are made and people like don't even know who or why, who, what, or why, right? Because again, although their missions were the same, the desired outcomes were completely different. And if they would have communicated a desired outcome, it's interesting how like allegiances would have shifted. If they had communicated a desired outcome, it would be a completely different game, obviously. Um, but it's like, yeah, like they didn't even know. Anyway, it's like the story is unfolding in my brain, and I'm just like, oh my goodness. So in the Angel area, so going back to like had to be 2020, like pre March 8th, 2020, because I'm pretty sure I remember where I was in the Angelarium year 2 was the deck that I had because I remember that's the one with both Pinamues. And so the story was Azazel early in the history of mankind when they were still figuring out how to do stuff. Azazel taught them how to use weapons. And that's your like basic hunter and the hunter gatherer type scenario. Like you can use this to protect yourselves, to feed yourselves, blah, 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 whatever. Then in move for power and in all kinds of ego, whatever, whatever, those weapons were turned against what those weapons shouldn't have turned against. Who those weapons shouldn't have been turned against. And Azazel was held responsible because Azazel was the one that gave them weapons. But, and I guess that's because, again, like the real life example of nuclear energy power versus like nuclear weapons of like our first exposure really was weaponry. And so there's a lot of positive things that could be done that either aren't or that we're extremely hesitant and cautious about, or so hesitant and cautious about that we prefer other sort of means. It's like the original purpose and the original intent behind something, maybe a sacrifice that was made, has been forgotten. And Now it's just chaos. It's like I feel the cogs like I feel like the cogs are turning and my mouth cannot keep up. It's interesting. Okay, so it's interesting because there's a lot. And I'm picking all these cards I can't even read. There have been some things that I've been mulling over, I guess, recently. And just I guess that's also occupied a lot of like mental space for me. I feel like there's quite a few things occupying me mentally. And then this like new show that I'm just like loving and hating and loving. And so for example, oh Benamue. Oh, and Phanuel, Angel of Truth. That's not even Phanuel. Who was that? Matariel, Angel of Rain. Just kidding. See? These like white sash thingies. Interesting. I feel like that's offensive and sacrilegious. And maybe borderline blasphemous. Is this the one that remembers? Nope. What hath been wrought on the fiery hilltop, right? What hath been wrought across the fiery hilltop, these sculptures of men whose names the angels forgot. This is the Pinamua that forgets because of what transpired with how the weapons were used. It's the energy of like that's not what they were given for, but it's what mankind chose. So intentions are negligible. In certain situations, intentions are negligible, and it's the outcome that's more pertinent because the outcome is what more so affects us than intentions. Outcomes set precedence. That's a lot of text. Let's see. I'm not reading all that. Oh, lonely fountain is the thing that I see, though. Oh, lonely fountain, bless us mortals that dwell beneath you. Let our gratefulness abate your sadness. Let our prayers reach you, lonely Matariel. We saw the fountain in both the Ace of Cups and the Queen of Cups in the SKT Revelations edition yesterday. I'm pretty sure it was yesterday. No, that was 2 days ago because that's the lunar wheel. Yesterday, we saw the solar lunar wheels in the card of change. Um, and it was like because the Queen of Cups, because the Ivory Shield had the cup that she was working to part of the transmutation process with him for. She dropped the shield, which allowed the knot to be untied. We saw the fountain in the background of the Ivory Shield, and then it was in the foreground of Holy Water. I think the Ace of Cups in that deck. And so with this mask, oh, oh, the Angel of Forgetfulness. And this is the Pinamue that forgets. I didn't even catch that. These sculptures of men whose names the angels forgot. but the angel of forgetfulness here, or the angel of forgetting. And it's interesting because in is either Zadkiel or Zacriel, I think it's Zadkiel, the angel of memory. It mentions that, to take one thing, we must leave another. But with forgetting, there's nothing taken, only loss. And so it brings to mind this other thing that I've come across semi recently. It was last season, um, where there were crimes that were committed against spirits, like gruesome crimes committed against the spirits in this anime that I watched. And because of that, a royal family was cursed by the spirits. And it's like so much time had passed that they don't even remember. They forgot. And it's like not only did they forget, it's like they never saw the error of their ways in the first place. And even when they were made aware, forcibly made aware, through their own actions, they were permitted to see the atrocities that happened. And still, it's like they still didn't get it. But there's one character, of course, who has always been more sensitive to those things, who like now understands and who feels this great remorse. And he's told, because he's of noble blood, but he's told, like, kind of sort of like, you're not the problem. Like, not only are you not the reason why your bloodline is cursed in the first place, but also you're still the only one in your bloodline that has any shred of like penitence or remorse or awareness of how badly like your progenitor ancestor whoever back then transgressed. And again, it's very much so like if it would just happen again. Forgive and forget is a better tactic for situations, cases, scenarios where there's been a change. But if it's going to be literally the same outcome, then like what's the point? And so it's, you could say it's almost reading like from our side, there's the veil that keeps us from spirit. And depending on how connected, intuitive, discerning, whatever, we can peer through, gaze through. I mean, anyone, everyone can have a connection to the divine. But it's almost like from the other side, it's these masks that we sort of wear. And we become like statues of men. It's also interesting that it's statues of men because of, it's like it's that coldness, right? Before the weapons and everything, there was like a warmth, a beating heart, and humanity. And the heart is coming back online, largely inspired by events that, you know, what has to happen and had to happen happened. And it's better to focus on moving forward than on what has already happened. But it's almost like when the heart is fully online or whatever that looks like, that's when the mask slips. And that's when we can be seen by the divine, by spirit. Right. Like I've heard so much growing up the phrase, God knows my heart. But it's like, if that were true, then it's like, is your heart even visible? Can it even be seen? It's like if you're in a crowd and you know someone's face, but you don't see their face, or if they're covering their face, then like the medium of recognition is obscured or absent. There's presence there, but without the however recognition happens, um, this isn't necessarily well. I think maybe this is like a whole the whole. It's a bit early yet because again, it's almost like there's no, especially if you listen to a lot of reasons why people seek the divine and what they ask people for. Again, it's very much so. It's that metaphor, right? He who guards the truth with lies, and the team that's on a mission. They're so focused on the mission that they don't. It's like if they were more so about the outcome that they desired than the mission that they believe will get them that outcome, they would get what they want. But they're so mission focused and mission driven that they end up allying with someone with the same mission. But again, the other person knows the truth. They don't. And so it's almost like if you know what you want, lead with what you want rather than what's going to get you there, which in the context of this almost feels, it's like take the resonant parts. The part is, it's like a lot of times we can go to the divine because of something that we want, right? And because of the thing that we want, there are a myriad of ways that that thing can be given to us. And if we're more tuned into desire so that our discernment starts to slip, then we end up on paths that we never, it's like if we had known, we never would have done this or done that or whatever. But it's almost like that took a back seat. And so I guess if it comes to law, it's something that ultimately we ended up using our free will to choose. And since we used our free will to choose something, almost sort of within certain confines, regardless of how we were convinced, once our free will is used, our free will is honored. And again, maybe it's like there's little confidence that things would sort of play out differently because a lot of times, sometimes what we want is a reversal of fate, is a reversal of fortunes. We want the wheel to spin in our favor. But when it comes to like the divine court of law, what we allow and accept for others, we also allow and accept for ourselves, right? If it's okay that it happens to somebody else, why would it not be okay if it happened to you? Type energy, right? If we are constantly interacting and engaging and consenting and dissenting to things happening in our experience, and we go, oh, it's happening to them. Okay, it's happening to them. Okay, well, it's not me. It's not for me to worry about. Again, it's like we're constantly consenting. And then so when it happens to us, like we've already signed off our consent type energy. It's like multi whatever. I feel like maybe it's me. Well, no, today it's not just me. If it were just me, I would have gotten the other Pinamue, but I got this one, the one that aligns with the angel of forgetting. Because when I look at it, it feels like this robot is doing its routine, whatever. And surprisingly, like someone comes in. It's like a heart has come offline. Imagine like, so there are these like, this robot is maintaining this place and it's full of these masks, right? Just floating masks everywhere. These floating masks is how we are perceived on the other side of the veil. Because if we are known by our hearts and our hearts are so wrapped up in what we've been through in our own lives and the world at large and stuff like that, it's less visible, not as easily noticeable. So it's harder to differentiate one from another. But all of a sudden, on like routine rounds, a day like any other day, like maybe there's like a person that's standing there and you're like, and the person's like, and then the robot is like, oh my gosh. And it's like, again, it's that energy of like robots have like near perfect memory, but it's been so long that it has to like look up the protocol again. But it's like the heart comes on and then it's recognized. And then there's a whole whatever from there, girl. Apparently, that's beyond the scope of this. See, I say that, but it almost feels like someone is recognized. And let's say, like low hanging fruit, for example, right? There is something that you are born to do. You are born, purpose born. And, you know, before your heart, before the mask slips, as you're still like living life and building your network and having these like fundamental experiences and stuff of that nature before you, whatever, um, something happens, maybe something pivotal in your life that transforms who you are as a person, gets you to shift whatever, and then you go into your purpose. When you go into your purpose that you were purpose born for, it's like the mask slips. Now, this aspect of the divine that knows that you were here for a certain purpose can like funnel all of these resources, or it can start to develop you mentally, emotionally, spiritually in a certain type of way to help you with whatever that purpose is. Right. Like as soon as you step into it, you're recognized type energy. Right. But it's like in your purpose for the right reason, according to that same metaphor, whatever. Because it's like you can end up at the precipice of your purpose, but for the wrong reasons or with the wrong motivation. Right. Let's say that you end up at your purpose for money. And because money is your primary motivation, it's like you in your purpose, you will be positioned to benefit people who almost like need it the most, but that may be able, like the least able to afford you or your services or whatever. And so it's almost like if you find your purpose for money, then where you're needed the most, it's almost like you would never go because they wouldn't be able to afford you. And so then it's this whole whatever that is. And then at that point, like it doesn't change anything because where you're needed, you would never go. But you have that pivotal experience, and part of you being recognized and part of your mental, emotional, spiritual resources become financial. So now It's like you are compensated well enough in some way that you can go and be in your purpose where you're needed and not have your prevailing motivation keep you from doing what it is that maybe you would be like, I would do it, but whatever. But if money is like the primary motivation, it's like the purpose wasn't given to make somebody rich, right? That and within the same family of, within the same metaphor, someone wouldn't have their purpose to get rich, but they would be abundantly taken care of if they're in their purpose. And that sort of goes back to something that came out. What was it, the last life or the life before? It wasn't the last one. It may have been the one before. And I don't even fully remember what it was, but it was like a very similar energy, right? Like if you're in your purpose, you will be abundantly taken care of. And so the abundance is secondary, but also inseparable from being in your purpose. But if you are seeking abundance, or if you're seeking money, then that's not necessarily the way to go about it. It's like to be in it for money is for it doesn't obligate any kind of support or assistance or anything because it's about outcomes, right? The desired outcome. You want to make a difference. The divine wants a difference to be made. Everyone's on the same page, right? You want to do this thing for money, which will make a difference, and the divine wants a difference to be made. It's not necessarily on the same page because if your primary motivator is money, you'll do anything. And it's almost like it could be one of those like the divine's like, I need you focused. Like, I need you out in the field doing this and doing that. Anyway, that's a metaphor. It doesn't have to be that in particular. It could be like anything. But it's just like it's the amount of sort of ego and how we can use the divine or what we view of our purpose as to like fuel our ego. And it's like that's not the point. And depending on how severe, the divine will humble real quick. Cause it can become one of those like, oh, like if you're that's not what we signed up for. Type energy. And maybe it's one of those like maybe we can look at things from the outside and think like, oh, if I were in that position, I would never do this or I would never do that. And again, that also came out recently, the energy of like children who become their parents or victims who become victimizers. But again, when all of that was given to the aspect of the divine represented by the ivory shield, that's when we saw the fountain. And again, the fountain went from the background to the foreground. And then here's Matariel, O lonely fountain. Hear our prayers. O Penamue, remember us, remember me. Remember you, I can't even see you. Hello? It's like, remember you, I never forgot. But where are you? And you're like, I was right there. Like you didn't like I came up like what in full costume? Like I thought I recognized you. I spoke to you. You were in full costume and you kind of ignored me. So I thought obviously I had the wrong person. I don't know if someone else was there and you were trying to impress them or whatever, but I just got the vibe that like you didn't really want me there. So I went and did my own thing. But now that you want something, now that you need something, all of a sudden you know my name. All of a sudden you remember. That's Patrick. That's not. That's me. That's not the cards. I mean, these statues of men whose names the angels forgot, with the angel of forgetting. I would want to read Pura, but I don't have my glasses. No, I don't have my glasses. I could always hold it up to the camera. That's fine. This again, this isn't necessarily why I got on here. Usually I would keep going. I'd be like, this is this, but what is whatever? I know I need to cut my nails, but like, I like being able to. I don't know. It's fine. Um, no, of course I could look before and after the other Pinamue. That I may do. I think Fanuel is in this deck, so I could look after Fanuel. Is that what we're gonna do? Is that what we're gonna do? Sure. I'll look after both of them to keep it consistent. And I think Fanuel is in this deck. You know, Fanuel may not be. I'm pretty sure. But I could be wrong. Like I said, I haven't necessarily used this as much. The king, that's Semyaza. Okay. Oh, Kakabiel is the prophet. I mentioned that because under at the bottom of the deck is Kakabiel. And I kept glancing over at No. Who was that? Okay. Oh, that's Duma. That's Duma anyway. The victim? Who is the victim? Baziliel, Angel of Shadow. Ooh, girl. Oh. Satario. Ooh, girl. If you know the Lord, you know the lore. If you don't, it's fine. At Zadkiel, Angel of Memory. No, Zadkiel, Angel of Mercy. So Zachriel is the Angel of Memory. Oh, snap. There's our Angel of the Mountain. I'm pretty sure Fanuel is in this deck. Maybe I shouldn't just like cycle these. Maybe I should have. I'm pretty sure this isn't Fanuel. Nope. The Keeper. I don't know if both Penamues are. Oh my gosh. Penamue and the Exile. That's the other Azazel in this deck. Pinamue and Azazel. Pinamue, of course, and Azazel. Same Pinamue, different Azazel. This is Azazel, the hero, right? Helping out humanity. Yeah. Teaching them how to survive. Yeah. Then it's like they're using weapons for what? I think sometimes we as humans don't fully understand which aspects of the divine accompany which other aspects of the divine. Meaning, because they came out the same, the Penamue that forgets, again, Penamue sort of honored and remembered, but this is the Penamue that forgets. That's the Azazel in exile because of what man did with what Azazel gave to them. Not necessarily inspired by Azazel, it's because of what they decided to do. And it's almost like there was some kind of kinship between Penamue and Azazel. So when Azazel was exiled because of what men did, that's when Penamue forgot. And so, again, in the case, situation, and circumstance, like let's say that we're in our purpose, right? And we are blessedly and abundantly provided for by the divine because we're in our purpose. So us in our purpose is one aspect of the divine, abundance is another aspect of the divine, and because we're honoring one, the other follows because that's their kinship. But if we were to step out of our purpose in favor of whatever else, we would also lose that abundance because abundance accompanies purpose. And if we get so proud and so egoic and so whatever, like, oh, like I got this and I got that, when it becomes a like a symbol of status for us to the point that it takes us out of our purpose, we abandon purpose, we also abandon abundance because again, the second accompanies the first. And sometimes even the way that we treat each other, it's like sometimes we like to think that we will continue to receive the best, even if we no longer honor it, right? It's like someone who makes a lot of money, and it's like they make a lot of money at their job, right? And so there's again going back to another one. There's someone that slighted them or thought they wouldn't be successful, so they go and they flex on this person and that person, like, oh, look at me now, look at me now. They spend so much time flexing that they don't show up for work. And if you don't show up and you don't clock in, you're not going to keep getting paid. So eventually they lose their job because they're so focused on flexing that they stop showing up. And then it becomes this whole, not that it isn't always, not that it necessarily has to be. It's like it becomes this whole like, oh, you know, you were humbled because you had become so proud and so this and so that. And it's like the humbling was just like a natural whatever because the person stopped showing up. And because they stopped showing up, they lost what they were using to flex. Right. Sometimes it is to be humbled. Sometimes people are humbled. Other times, again, it's just like a natural sort of consequence. If you abandon purpose and abundance, or yeah, if you abandon purpose and purpose was the reason that abundance frequented your door, then without purpose, abundance has no reason to visit. And maybe sometimes we think that, like, oh, yeah, you know, I really kicked it off with abundance. So even if I cut purpose out the picture, like abundance is still gonna come and see me because me and abundance we're like that. And abundance is like, I was only here because purpose was here. And now that purpose isn't here anymore, like I knew purpose first. So this is kind of awkward, but like I didn't even It's fine. We ain't gotta do all that. They accompany each other. So when one is slighted or abandoned, that accompaniment isn't broken. So if purpose is abandoned, then abundance would be abandoned too. In that metaphor, an example. If it don't resonate, don't take it. But that's the thing. And that's why, oh, I'm back at Pura. Yep. So Fanuel isn't even in this deck. I'm pretty sure Fanuel is in the other. Um, yeah. And maybe it is precautionary, right? Maybe someone is on the brink of receiving, because again, this recognition is happening. And so it's just like, as this recognition happens, maybe as your life changes dramatically or drastically, just like remember your why, remain connected to what's important to you, and don't get swept up in the goings on of things. Because if you do, you're going to have to ground yourself in some way at some point later. Yeah. So, wow, it was the first deck I had seen. I was like, yeah, but I want to use the other one. So, we're still going to look. I mean, if I look for Fanuel here, then I feel like I don't. Oh, I'm looking for the other Pinamue. Okay. All right. All right. So I'm gonna do before and after Fanuel, and then before and after the other Pinamue. Since look, there he is, Zachriel, Angel of Memory. To take something, you must leave something. But yeah, and again, like it feels like it's come out several times. Just like remember your why, be keenly aware of your desires, and sort of check your motivations, or make sure that your motivations and your desires align, right? Or maybe just in general, maybe there's something that is to be communicated plainly, right? It's like, for example, if you, there's something about, I don't even know if I can fully give a metaphor. It's like you want to plainly communicate your desires because that's going to get you where you want to go. And it's like, let's say, for example, someone wants a job. I feel like I can't. It's like, I feel like an interview, like, let's say someone's in an interview, right? And there's something that they want to do. In an interview situation, obviously you're interviewing because you want something, and you're being interviewed because they want something. And the interview is a conversation to discuss alignment and possibilities, right? But if in the presence of the interview, it's like you say that you want, it's like you really want one thing, but you say that you want another thing because you think that the interviewer will like really resonate, or like it'll really be a hit, or they'll really love this answer. And so like I'm going to tell them what they want to hear. And again, it's something that's almost like it, because that's what's communicated, they think that's what you want, so they put you somewhere else. Because again, it's like it's a conversation to discuss alignment and possibilities. And so they interpret that you want your alignment to be elsewhere, but it's like you communicate it that way because you want to sound whatever, right? Obviously, you don't go into an interview and be like, I just want money, right? They say it's so much advice. Like, if you're in an interview and they ask you this is what you should say, and you should say that, and you should never say this. That's very court of man. And I think, I mean, but we do it with the divine too, right? Like, oh God, like if you give me this, then I promise I'm gonna stop doing this. Or if you give me a winning lottery ticket, I promise I'll be at church every Sunday. And it's almost like God is like, do you know who you're speaking to? Like a winning lot is like it's people who want to be here that are here. If you don't want to be here, I love you, but you have free will. And I'm not gonna and impede upon your infringe or impede upon your free will. I'm not going to buy your free will because then it wouldn't be free, you know. And then it's like we win the lottery, and do we even show up at church? No. Maybe one Sunday, maybe two. But after that, we get swept up in the money because it was about the money. And then it's, you know, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 years later. Anyway, like, it's fine. Let's breathe. We're looking for the Pinamue. We're looking for Fanuel and the other Pinamue. I'm pretty sure Fanuel. I know Fanuel is in this deck. Again, this isn't necessarily where I wanted it to go, but that's fine. Duma, Angel of Dreams. Oh, Fanuel, Angel of Truth. And Remph, Angel of Time. Duma, Fanuel, and Remph. But it's the other Duma, right? Other Duma? Patrick, what do you mean? There's only one Duma. So under Kokavio, which set the prophet, there's Duma, Angel of Dreams. But it's the other illustration of Duma. Now, what is interesting is dreams were the metaphor. Dreams were part of the metaphor that I feel like started this whole thing off. And I think, yeah, because I feel like dreams came out before I used the African American tarot. Was it the same live? I don't think it was the same. Because we saw dreams and chemical spirits in the science tarot. The explorer of Earth had to do with dreams, with the heartbeat, the chemical, whatever, girl. But I feel like dreams came out before that. In what capacity? It was something like dreams could be a space where there's some kind of communication, where like the gap isn't as wide in the dream. Maybe I don't remember. I know they came out, so it's interesting to see dreams here with Fanuel, Angel of Truth. There you go. Fanuel waits at the throne, right? Because Fanuel knows that the day will come. I don't want to do before. Before was the Angel of Dreams. After is Remph, Angel of Time. Mm. I feel like I want to mention it here. Um, for myself, if I'm being completely honest, it's important to remember that the intentions were it's important to remember that the intentions were different than the outcome. And if the intentions were different than the outcome, it is highly possible that there are other outcomes. So, yeah, it's like one thing doesn't necessarily have to lead to another. The intentions were different. There was a different outcome in mind, and like other things are possible. Just because it worked out a certain type of way, or just because something was used in a certain type of way, doesn't mean that that's all it can be used for, right? Again, with the whole I want a new metaphor. I don't want to use I don't want to use nuclear energy anymore. I don't. I need a new metaphor. I need a new one. I don't want to use it anymore. But yeah, the energy of fusion can be harnessed in so many like beautiful ways. And it's important to remember that. Again, that's for me. Like I'm saying, it's come to my awareness. I'm communicating the thought right now for me because, again, there have been things that I've been pondering for the past little bit and kind of feeling very like, well, if this is how it turned out, then, you know, Angel of Pride and the Angel of Pisces. Let me stop. Phanuel, Angel of Truth. The same Phanuel is in between the Angel of Pride, Semyaza, and the Angel of Pisces. Semyaza was the first. Oh, this is the Semyaza. Semyaza in this story, essentially, Semyaza was the first whose mask slipped, who was recognized, and who remembered. Interesting. And then Barakiel, who was that? I can't read. The Angel of Pisces on the other side. Pisces and Leo. Oh, is Pisces and Leo? I keep looking at this calendar as if it's like current. This, are we going to have a new moon Leo solar eclipse? And then the full moon Virgo lunar eclipse? No, that wouldn't be Virgo, it'd be Pisces. We're going, so the North Node is shifting into the Aquarius Leo axis. The summer eclipses are going to happen. I believe one is on the Pisces Virgo axis and the other is on the Aquarius Leo axis. I don't remember. I don't know. I was going to say I don't remember. I don't know. Um, but I'm pretty sure they happen on both sides. One, again, the one coming up is going to happen on the, I think, what, March 3rd, maybe. We're going to have the full moon Virgo lunar eclipse. So I don't know. if it's going to be a Leo Virgo or a Leo Aquarius solar eclipse and then a Virgo Pisces lunar eclipse. I don't know. I don't know. Who am I looking for? The other Pinamua. That's what I'm looking for. Oh, here he is. Is this? Oh. 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 Okay. This does kind of like. All right. Hold up. Oh, Gabriel. So the other Pinamue is with Shatael, Angel of Silence, and Gus. Gus, who's behind the other. It's Renth, the Angel of Time. Yeah. Pinamue is in between Shatael and Renth. This is so before and after the same Renth came out after both Vanuel and Pinamue. And is this not the fire that cracks its skin is the same as the like the flames that crack its skin is the same as the fire from within? No, this is a different one. The ocean pulsed, pushed onward, beat by beat, marching forward, they die upon the beach. And with each strike, the sand pulls upon, with each stroke, sorry, the sand pulls upon the stones, polishing faces smooth. So that's not Renth of flames and alabaster. And then here's the Pinamue that I remember. Cool. All right. I'm trying to okay, don't focus on me. Anyway, it's fine. Because we have the angel of silence and the angel of dreams both before. Oh, did I finish talking about it? It's fine. It's interesting that we see because dreams are conversations that are had in silent times. It's like a whole conversation can be had in a dream, whereas in the waking world, it'd just be silence. It'd be a person sleeping. I feel like it's almost giving, it's like someone's recognized a different way. So before the mask slips, someone is still recognized. So it's very much so like the divine. And we are all. The only reason why I would hesitate to utter the sentiment that just came to me is because we all have very, very, very different experiences. So this is the energy for someone. It's like before they came into remembrance, before their heart comes online or whatever, before the mask slips, they're recognized by the divine because of the way that they move. Right. So if you go to a masquerade ball and someone has a very distinct limp, a mask isn't going to hide that. Or if someone carries themselves in a certain type of way or holds a certain posture, the mask isn't going to hide that. If someone has a very distinct laugh, a mask isn't going to hide that. Because it's like it's these conversations in silence. And conversations go both ways. Right. So on one hand, it's like the divine has always looked out for whoever that resonates for. Again, my immediate sentiment is we are all afforded that luxury, but our experiences are vastly different. And I am not going to answer. I'm not the one to answer. Well, where was the divine when this happened and when that? That is beyond the scope of my role, purpose, function, capabilities. And so that brings, well, I guess this is the Penamue that remembers. So I shouldn't be surprised. It feels like there's an element of, yeah, because even this, like marching beat by beat, it's like it's been there this whole time. And so it's almost an energy of recognition. It is recognition, recognition and revelation when this happens, right? On one hand, it's almost like a surprise, like, whoa, where am I? And then the robot's like, oh, a guest, a visitor. We haven't had a visitor in ever. What feels like forever. It's been so long, I've forgotten my protocols, and I'm a robot type energy, right? Um, and where it's like kind of sort of new, but this, it's recognition and revelation. Because again, it's like the divine, it's like they've had a connection even if they weren't in conversation, right? It's kind of sort of like there's a person who like orbits your, like you orbit each other. Like you've been orbiting each other, like maybe you see each other for like years, but then there's a point where like you actually meet. And so that's that like familiarity. Or maybe it's like there were these like near orbital experiences and then a gap in time and then a meeting. And then in the meeting, that's when it's like, oh, like, yeah, you were the person that was always whatever, whatever, blah, blah, blah. And they're like, yeah. And then like, oh, wait, you were the person that was like, whatever, blah, blah. And you're like, yeah, yeah. So it's like the, but I mean, honestly, this feels more familiar than that. It's just like, or it's almost like, let's say that there's someone that you've always heard about. And maybe it's like a mutual friend or something, but you've never been in like the same room. And then you meet and you get to put a name to a face. It's almost that like putting a name to a face. It's like Penamue remembered, but something within you also remembered type energy. Cool. I didn't even drink. I didn't even open the rum. It's fine. I need to do my Duolingo before. It's 11:16. That's fine. I'm getting final cards. Yeah. So not necessarily. Not necessarily what I was going for. I think it was an Instagram reel, and I didn't even like it, so it's lost. It started with a Z though. Let's see. I'll ask Google. Hey Google, what's the word for a grammatical structure or literary device where a one word is used to refer to two different things?
The word is zeugma. A zeugma occurs when a single word, usually a verb or adjective, applies to two others in different senses. E.g., he took his hat and his leave. A similar, often more play on words version is called synlepsis. Would you like to see more examples of these in literature?
Gemini, she just gets me. That was the word. It was a zeugma. Read that again. I want to hear that again.
The word is zeugma. A zeugma occurs when a single word, usually a verb or adjective, applies to two others in different senses. E.g., he took his hat and his leave. A similar, often more play on words version is called synlepsis. Would you like to see more examples?
A zeugma. This isn't necessarily the zeugma that I was looking for, but that's fine. What was the point and purpose there? Again, it almost reads as more like cautionary. As things proceed, as things progress, as things pick up pace, or as the picture begins to fill out, don't again. But we've seen it. It's a reminder. Um, is that "Cozy" by Beyonce on Renaissance Act One? Act One Renaissance. Yeah, that's "Cozy." Um, to just stay connected to your truth and your desires. And yeah, but from a different place. It seems that like before it was more so, like don't be distracted by correcting something from the past or whatever. I saw something else. Something like another like revenge body post or whatever and it's like who she left. No, it's like what the person looked like when they were together and then what they looked like after the breakup. And again, it's very much like, but like if you weren't doing that for her, first of all, you should be doing it for yourself. But it's like she didn't get it and she doesn't have it, but she wouldn't have never had it anyway. Like the whole impetus for the transformation was the ending. And so without the ending, the transformation would have never occurred. And maybe there's a comforting, I feel like there's supposed to be something comforting in that. Right. Because I think sometimes maybe we go through certain experiences in life where we have regrets, for example. Or maybe it's like, I wish I would have known this before, whatever, or I wish I would have done this, but it's like there are pivotal experiences that we have that grow us, especially if we choose to grow, that heal us, that unveil certain things so we can see it more clearly. And again, it's just to be like it's very much so like we are who we are because of our free will choices and because of what we've been through. And some of those things have been pivotal in us becoming who we are. So although we may wish things would have gone down differently, or however they could have gone differently, it's almost like take solace in the fact that like now you have become or you have grown or you have healed, and let that be your closure. Maybe in a case where you can't get closure, let that be your closure. You've honored the lesson by growing, by healing, by changing, by evolving, by whatever. Right? So for example, it is very like maybe someone was in a situation where something was left unsaid and they won't have an opportunity to say it. Um, and it's like, and now you like you're the type of person that really wants to communicate certain things. And it's like, what a gorgeous way to honor what can't be said or whatever, to honor the memory, to honor the whole thing, right? To be changed in such a beautiful way and to carry that change with you and to carry that change into the world. So, yeah, no Zugma today. But also, with the energy of the analogs, seeing Remp, the angel of time, behind both of those gives an energy of like the monologue, the analog, not the monologue, the analog. Right, like because someone is remembered and remembers 12552. Because someone remembers and is remembered, that causes something that may have been paused to resume. Right. The analogs have been synchronized. Well, more so the synchronization. Right. Which, yeah. Sure. What does it mean? It's like who someone is physically and who they are spiritually have been connected. Right. Someone is their heart. Meaning, a lot of times when I've heard the phrase, the Lord knows my heart, said, it's like my actions are not aligning with the ideal, but the Lord knows my heart and will know that in my heart I hold the ideal. So although my actions don't align, he will judge me by the ideals I hold in my heart and not the actions that I am actioning. But it's just like where they match. And that creates some kind of something. It's almost like a bridge, but it creates like something like a bridge for someone's consciousness so they can be aware and mindful of sort of both. Whereas sometimes we kind of sort of trade one for another, right? So, like, let's say there are moments where we're more like spiritually minded and focused and we're doing whatever. And then we're like 3D physically minded and focused and we're doing whatever. And it's almost like there's this like a gap in our awareness as we transit the two, but in that yeah, when the bridge is formed, they become simultaneous. Anyway, all right. I mean, I didn't even really get one of these. What was at the bottom? Starfighter pilot. I can't read any of these. I don't have my glasses. Come on. Maybe I should focus here first. Starfighter pilot. There we go. Bright Star 1 to flight comm. Scopes are clear. The stars are yours. Interesting, because it was the whole more clarity unveiled. And Bright Star 1. Bright Star 1 to flight comm. Scopes are clear. The stars are yours. Okay. We'll get this one first. The year 2. Angel. Angelarium year 2. We'll get this first and then we'll be through. I need to be mindful of the time. I should have enough time because I'm getting final cards, but sometimes final cards are longer than Video. Okay. I'm like, I'd be so surprised. I am still so surprised. Like Gemini knew what I was talking about. I'm like, it was a Zugma. I feel like I still, because Zugma was the second time I had seen it, and the first time I seen, I feel like if it was a word like Zugma, I would have remembered it being like outlandish. You know what I mean? He took his hat and his leave. All right. Final card. Come on, come on, come on. Let me not rush the Angelarium Angels. We'll get another deck. How about that? That's fine. We don't have to put that one away first. I mean, they're all Angelarium Angels. The Vessel, Barachio, made some noise. The Vessel and the Keeper. And the Real Karukian Angelarium lore. What do I say in Real Karukian mythos? That's what it is. In Real Karukian mythos, Barachio was one of the ones that fell. Right. And at first it was like, oh, what's happening? And then it was like they're using the weapons that Azazel gave them. But with the vessel, it's almost like the vessel was broken to try to get its contents. But its contents returned to the keeper. There was nothing gained. Because it's not within, it's almost like it's very like, even if someone were to copy your work or whatever, to plagiarize your work, they can't copy your essence because your essence lives within you. Type energy. Like, whatever was like damaged or broken or attempted that had an attempt made against it, like nothing lived there. It was just a vessel. And when it was damaged or broken, it became empty, and the thing returned to where it's kept. And where it's kept, nothing can interfere or take or steal or whatever. Right? Okay. That's the Angel of Lightning, by the way. And we saw electricity. It was electricity and ignition. And it was like the water will conduct electricity, but also douse the flames. We saw that in the Elemental Oracle. Inspired by playfulness, right? And it's like it's deeper. There is someone could be playful because of the trust in the creator in the Oshos and Tarot. So if you just, again, it's like when it comes to certain practices and rituals or whatever, it's more than a series of actions, because actions can be replicated by anybody. There's also a deeper element, right? It's almost very Virgo when I did I don't even think it was the raw rune, and I've been using the raw runes more. Virgo's, no, I feel like it was Virgo's raw rune reading. I don't think, because when the Fruma actually launched, I managed to make it through the entire zodiac. But with the raw runes, I only did like six. There was whichever one Virgo had. I'm pretty sure it was the raw runes, but it may not have been. Um, it was like the needle isn't magic; it's Virgo, right? Virgo has this magic needle that they use to do whatever. And when it came to the vessel, it's like someone stole Virgo's needle, and they're like, "Why isn't it doing what it does when Virgo uses it?" And it's like, because the needle is an ordinary needle. The magic isn't within Virgo. Virgo is the magic. It's not the needle. Okay. All right. I am going to need some final cards now, please. Honestly, because it'll only take me like a minute. You know what? if I don't finish this by like 150, then I'll take my 2 minutes. Angel of Vengeance and Angel of Night. Girl, not Night Vengeance. Uh-oh. They say what's done in the dark will come to the light. Well, hey, sometimes what's done in the dark will be resolved in the dark. And when folks wake up, they'll be none the wiser. Depends. All right. Angelarium Oracle of Emanations. Please, a final card. Maybe all the angels have abandoned me. They said, we do not co-sign this, girl. All this nonsense you talking. Hello. That's why sometimes I'm like, I have a healthy level of ego, but also at the same time, I'm like, girl, I'm just some dude. You know what I mean? Reading cards with angels. And it'd be different if, at least if I was just reading the book, I would be saying words that somebody else see it, but I'm putting words to it. I may be miscommunicating, not seeing whatever. You know what I mean? Fanuel Angel of Truth, or not, or not. And Yasad, Root Connection. Root Connection and the Angel of Truth. There you go. We saw the root. Whispers of Ganesha came out with the root. I don't remember what it was called though. All right. Oop. And it's so what came to mind, give me a second. I'm just gonna do my Duolingo real quick. Because I don't know if I'm gonna be done and it'll take me like 2 minutes. All right, I'm sorry. It's like, really, Patrick? After this whole get your priorities straight and you're going to stop the live for Duolingo. Porque no los dos. Okay, I can do both. I'm like, make sure y'all clock that I did my lesson. Anyway, so what even came to my mind? They did nice. Something came to mind, and I was like, oh my gosh, I feel like this is not necessarily ending in 15 minutes. What was it? The root. Oh yeah. So I went like that, and I came down, and because the light, I saw like a flash of red. I was like, oh yeah, the root chakra. I don't remember what the card was. I don't remember. Yasad Connection, Fanuel Angel of Truth. We saw the root. Oh well. The root and Keter. The root and Keter is interesting because it does all that, but it's not Malkut, which means oh no, that was different. Oh, well, we got our final card. Oh goodness. We have been seeing the court of law and the divine law, the court of man and divine law. We've been seeing justice quite a bit. There were four judges of justice: the judge in the court of man, and then also three different divine judges. Samikiel, Angel of Vengeance, came out. Oh. With Duma, Angel of Dreams at the bottom of the deck, and Kushiel, Angel of Punishment under that. What the whole world? Hello? Why is this like. Because again, first we saw Samikiel with the Angel of Night. And it was like, what's done in the dark will be resolved in the dark. And everything will be taken care of by the time the sun rises. And then to have the Angel of Vengeance with the Angel of Dreams. And the Angel of Punishment under that. Like, let's honor it. Why not? Okay. Again, I don't have my glasses. I mean, I could use my phone. The thing about Samikiel, I'm actually going to read it. Maybe. Okay. All right. Low hanging fruit. Um. Yeah, I'm going to use the magnifier on my phone to read this. Okay. Well, let's magnify it a little bit. All right. Oh, girl. Let's do it this way. Smarter. There we go. Kind of. When the time comes, we all call its name. I can't do this. I know I got some glasses over here. Give me one moment. I know I'm doing all the pauses. I feel like this is actually important though. So, I mean, I feel like I don't know. I would prefer to read it so y'all know. Ooh. You know what? I literally just found a pair of glasses the other day too. And she said on the second shelf. On the second shelf, where? Where? Oh, I don't know if. Oh, yeah, one of these are readers. One of these are readers. I think another pair is just blue light glasses. Are these mine? I don't know. I guess we'll find out. I'm pretty sure these are not. I hope these are also readers and not just blue light glasses. Oh, they are. Nice. I've got a pair of readers. I can see. I can fart. Samikiel, Angel of Vengeance. Okay, you ready? Right. It's fine. I'll read it first. When the time comes, we all call its name. It is ever the instinct in our throat when we seek retribution. We choke on it, even as we languish in every syllable. But those who call on Samikiel without cause will have harm fall back upon them threefold. It is the way of Samikiel's sword, cutting in both directions. While we will gird our fragile hearts against being hurt, pain will make its attempts on us by any means necessary. It is in our soul to survive at all cost, even if it means violence. Try to resist the urges of your barbed heart. Samikiel knows not forgiveness. Signs are a sword, a thorny branch, and pierced skin. Swords and blades have also been a thing. Actually, so the machete was the one symbol that I didn't read. The bow and arrow is of the first Orisha. It may have been Odua. I don't remember. The axe was Shango. And then the machete was of the other Orisha that I don't remember. I'm sorry. But the one that was like the most severe, I'm pretty sure, of course, his was the machete. And now here we have the sword. Samikiel knows not forgiveness. And it's very like, I don't think this matters. It's very like, let he who is without sin cast the first stone, because when we call in justice, justice rules ubiquitously. I'm pretty sure that's the word I want. Everything, everything, everywhere. When we call down justice, it's everything, everyone, everywhere in the situation. We can't feel wronged and slighted by somebody, call down justice, and think we will be immune to justice's um, piercing eye. The sword cuts both ways, which is why maybe this is important, why it's important not to, like, as we move forward, to focus more on like what we want and where we're going. Because if we want hold some kind of like retribution or whatever in our hearts, like there are things, we're human. The chances that we have done something against someone else are high at some point, and we will be judged for those just as we want someone else to be judged for theirs. And I guess that kind of sort of came up in a way earlier, right? With like, there are so many things that we permit or so many things that we allow, but as long as it works in our benefit or it doesn't inconvenience us, then we don't care. But when we're slighted, we call down justice. And so one of the first things justice may say is like, okay, well, on this day at this time, you didn't have a problem with it when it was somebody else. And you know that the divine loves everyone. So it's like when you call on a parent, right? One sibling calls on a parent, and the parent was like, okay, I understand that this is like, it sucks and it's hurtful, but remember when you did this to them? And nobody wants to hear that. It's just, be mindful. It's one of those things that it's better to like just completely avoid than to, again, it's like, go to that aspect of the divine where we can take our cares and our worries, that gives us closure, that sits with us, that listens and heals, and move on. You could also say that the angel of vengeance is busy. We saw it with the angel of night and the angel of dreams. So I don't know. Let's get another one. Material angel of rain. Yeah, just maybe more so that like because we've all, regardless of the scale and scope, like it's so easy to have hurt someone in some way along the way, right? Like let's say whatever. But however, it's the way of Samikio's sword to cut both ways. So it's not necessarily to is it Psalms 109, girl? It may be Psalms 109. And I literally just saw that like last night, which is why I know Psalms 109. Psalms 109, starting with verse 1. Hold not thy peace, O God of my praise, for the mouth of the wicked and the mouth of the deceitful are opened against me. They have spoken against me with a lying tongue. They compassed me about also with words of hatred, and fought against me without a cause. For my love, they are my adversaries, but I give myself unto prayer. And they have rewarded me evil for good, and hatred for my love. Set thou a wicked man over him, and let Satan stand at his right hand. When he shall be judged, let him be condemned, and let his prayer become sin. Let his days be few, and let another take his office. Let his children be fatherless, and his wife a widow. Let his children be continually vagabonds and beg. Let them seek their bread also out of their desolate places. Let the extortioner catch all that he hath, and let the stranger spoil his labor. Let there be none to extend mercy unto him, neither let there be any to favor his fatherless children. Let his posterity be cut off, and in the generation following, let their name be blotted out. Let the iniquity of his fathers be remembered with the Lord, and let not the sin of his mother be blotted out. Let them be before the Lord continually, that he may cut off the memory of them from the earth, because that he remembered not to show mercy, but persecuted the poor and needy man, that he might even slay the broken in heart. As he loved cursing, so let it come unto him. As he delighted not in blessing, so let it be far from him. As he clothed himself with cursing, like as with it goes on and on and on and on. Girl, it goes for a minute. And I'm not gonna read the whole thing, but it's just like just because the sword cuts both ways doesn't necessarily mean it's not to call upon it when the situation is uh, appropriate, girl. Right? Because it's like whoa. And with how specific it was, it's like because he loved cursing and denied blessing. If he ain't ever have it to give, but only took, he returned hatred, or he returned love with hatred, and this with that, and hey, if I'm staying in my own lane, staying in my own lane. The angel of night and the angel of silence, silent night. Oh goodness. All right. Ooh, that was a. Did it flip? Did it flip? It did flip. It's the angel of silence, the angel of vengeance, and the angel of silence. And again, like the sun is up in the angel of silence. We just saw the angel of silence with the angel of night. We first saw the angel of night with the angel of vengeance. By the time sunrise comes, Yasad, root connection. She is very much so giving the energy of, see, but that's the thing. It is almost very much so giving like somebody didn't know what they were doing when they transgressed against whoever, because them and the divine is like that, right? Because they're familiar. Even if the mask ain't completely off, they're familiar. And you could, it's one of those things. It doesn't even necessarily have to be that in particular. It's like, oh, well, like if we had known who you were, then we wouldn't have done this. It's like someone goes into a store and they get the worst customer service, kind of sort of an undercover boss situation, but the boss isn't undercover. They're just like going to one of their stores because they want whatever, right? What what owner of a business establishment company or whatever wouldn't want to patronize their own business? Like, what are you doing if like you don't even want your own stuff? You know what I mean? And like they get in there and they have the worst experience and they're like, you know what, you're fired, because this isn't the experience that I want customers who work into my establishment to have. And then they're like, what, you can't fire me, blah 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 blah. And then you're like, or the person is like, well, yeah, well, I'm the CEO, I'm the boss's, I'm your boss's boss. You can go and get your, you know, it's like, go and get your manager. But then they're telling the manager, this is who I am. And then they're like, oh, well, if we had known it was you, then we wouldn't have done this. If we had known it was you, we would have treated you a lot better. And but the thing is, like, you shouldn't treat anyone like that. If I'm me or not me, no one should be treated like that. It doesn't matter the connection or the whatever. It just so happens that the connection is what really escalates something, maybe. But yeah, now I was just like, and I don't know. It just do we have a positive happy spin on that? No. That one just is what it is, girl. Angel of Vengeance came out with the Angel of the Night. And then the Angel of the Night was with the Angel of Silence. And then the Angel of Silence was the final card. And I'm like, you know what? Because at the end of the day, if it's deserved, it's deserved. And if it's earned, it's earned. If that is the result of someone's free will choice, then just like their free will was acknowledged and honored, so too are the consequences. Especially if someone isn't going to learn or change or whatever. Right? There are experiences that we all go through. And sometimes consequence is the best teacher for us. If not for consequence, you know, would we have ever grown or changed? I was just like, oop. Semyaza the king with the vessel. Barachia. I can read. All right, final oracle of the. Ooh, okay. Fallen. Samshiel, angel of the eclipse. I don't know how I feel about this. Bottom of the deck is the keeper, Rahab, which is also the angel of the deep. Interesting. Angel of the eclipse and the keeper. I mean, I guess that did kind of sort of the like, it's almost like once a stranger to mercy, always a stranger to mercy, right? If we were a stranger to mercy when others asked for it, then mercy will remain a stranger, because that's what mercy associates with us, regardless of which side of a situation we fall on. So, anyway, I mean, hey, if that's what comes out, that's what comes out. 35, Samshiel, angel of the eclipse. When Samshiel taught the cultivation of plants, gone were the days of a nomadic life. This gift rooted people to their land and gave them power. He taught them to watch the sun, to take nourishment from it, and to make it their own. When the warm months brought work in the fields, Samshiel led the effort. It was easy to spot him out there because his great stature loomed above the other workers, beaming down at them. Loomed above the other workers, beaming down at them. The time of harvest was always his favorite. He would sing as he swung a huge scythe through the field, flattening the landscape. He swayed and cut throughout the day, working until the sun dimmed over the horizon. The year the rains left, the fields caught fire. With their loss, something left him. He would stand in the scorched remains, looking out over the darkened expanse. He was like a shadow without a body to cast it. Domains are volatility, harvest, and omens. Card meaning something powerful is set to disappear soon. The light will still be there, but you won't have access to it for a time. Keeping the faith when the world is cold can be hard, but it's a worthy cause. Trapped in the moment of an eclipse can feel like a trapped in the moment of an eclipse can feel like a place apart from the rest of reality, but it's an illusion. I'm gonna try that one more time. Trapped in the moment of an eclipse can feel like a place apart from the rest of reality, but it's an illusion. Um, the year the rains left, the fields caught fire. A shadow without a body to cast it, coming off the angel of vengeance and the angel of punishment. Girl, it may get dark, but keep the faith. What the? Okay. And what's interesting is, didn't we see Matariel, Angel of Rain? Matariel Angel, it came out in this deck. And right? Because it had the thing that I associated with Fanuel. No, Matariel. I think we saw Matariel Angel of Rain, and Matariel Angel of Rain came out. Oh, Lonely Fountain. And this mentioned when the rain stopped and the fields caught fire. Was that Matario? I thought it was this deck. Maybe not. I guess not. No. No. Maybe it was the other one. Guess it wasn't this one. Anyway. What hath been brought on that fiery hilltop? The statues of men whose names the angels forgot. Right. A landscape evened or decimated by Samshiel when the rain stopped and the fields caught fire. I don't know. It's just like metaphors or stories of gifts of the divine, from the divine, that the egos of men have twisted to their nefarious purposes, and sort of like the distance, the separation that it causes or caused. Right? Anyway, well, this is ending a little rough. Eighth angel of anger at the top, with Zuriel angel of Libra, which, Libra is justice. If justice is angry, then justice has every right to be. Okay, cool. I am so glad that I did my Duolingo to Aziraphale, angel of song, Flipped over. Top is Asmodel, Angel of Taurus. Bottom is Gabriel, the Golden Herald. This Golden Herald embodies those transmissions which are most important words, sounds, and pictures that carry a huge impact. Sometimes the results are glorious, and sometimes they are terrible. Either way, there is no way to hold them back. When the herald lifts its lantern, everyone will see it. There's no escaping it. The reason why I read Gabriel, not only is it a similar silver and gold that Duma sort of had, but Gabriel was at the bottom or the top of the deck. I saw Gabriel when I had picked the cards up. Oh goodness. When the herald lifts its lantern, everyone will see it. Zerofold, the ecstasies above, with thy burning measures suit thy grief, thy joy, thy hate, thy love, with the fervor of thy lute. I don't know how to feel about what came out at the end of this video. Or maybe it's something to, I don't know. Again, just because there's a caveat with, but it was kind of sort of also that energy of like, the angels of vengeance and punishment either are busy or are busy. And so there's some stuff that they're already like gonna get to. Now maybe not the time for like petty squabbles or like I don't know, bro. I just like that was completely unexpected. But what Saturn and Neptune are moving into Aries and are going to be trining Pluto and Aquarius. Uranus, I don't remember. Well, I feel like Uranus was in Gemini the last time I was aware. I don't know if it's still early Gemini to the point where it's like trining Pluto. So it'll be like Uranus and Gemini, Pluto and Aquarius with Saturn and Neptune moving into Aries. I just if ever there were a good time to like be on your P's and Q's and in your lane, focused on what you're focusing on and like moving accordingly, I guess it's like now. Right? Let's flip a coin. H and I'll try to like T and I'll just leave it alone. Hey Google, flip a coin.
It's heads. Would you like me to flip it again?
Okay. See, I don't even know where I go after this though. Like, where's my light, happy, fun deck? Where's my like the universe has your back? Actually, is it in here? It should be. It should be in here. Yeah. Yeah, let's get a few of these. Not to invalidate the message if it were whatever. I love how I was like, oh, let me get my glasses, and then this is what I read. You know what I mean? But hey, sometimes it is what it is. If there's anything that Psalms 109 mentions is it's deserved, it's earned, and seemingly will be better for everyone. And I guess also too. Okay. All right. Let's get some positive. Okay, I'll give it 5. 4, 3, 2, 1, and I do the 0. Nothing came out, so I'll just read the top. I choose to learn through love. I choose to learn through love. May we continue to choose to learn through love. Bottom of the deck is I'm unapologetic about what I desire and trust that I will. I'm unapologetic about what I desire and trust that what I focus on will grow. I love how the first 2 words are I'm unapologetic. See, but maybe, and look how like similar the colors are in these 2. Yeah, cool. Instead of praying for an outcome, I pray for the highest good of all. I'll take that as a confirmation. Well, actually, like yes and no and yes and no and yes. The more energy and intention I bring into my, the more energy and attention I bring to my faith, the more fearless and free I am. Because the thing was, it's just a story. Because he who guards the truth with lies, because they were focused on the mission, because they were more focused on the mission than the outcome, they were assisted in accomplishing their mission, but it was the outcome that they thought they were fighting against. They were actually fighting for the outcome that they didn't want in their ignorance. That was the thing with Samikiel. So, but that was, so there's the phrase, life keeps forcing cruel choices. That was used. Samikiel actually visually holds similarities to a key figure of that metaphor, who is the greatest ally and enemy of the team. He's their greatest ally because he shares their goal, and he's their greatest enemy because he is the they don't know that they are working with literally the source of, it's yeah. um we just do our best as people. Just keep doing your best and choose love to continue to choose love. I mean, because they chose love, and when I focused on my inner light, I see the world through the lens of love. Cool. Yeah, sure. Whatever. I don't mean it like, yeah. Mm, I mean, it is what it is, you know? There is what happens at large, and then there's what happens in our personal lives. And we can only do our best, right? We can only, but that's also what our intuition and our discernment and our Jiminy Crickets are there for, right? Sometimes our Jiminy Crickets will let us know, like, hey, so I know that on the surface this looks whatever, but something about this just ain't right, sis. So, And it's funny because the one person that had the capacity to see beyond her pain and their plight actually hit on the truth. But it's a truth that was hard to see when you're already convinced because of how something looks on its face of one thing. Right. I don't know, bro. I hope you I hope y'all have an amazing whatever whenever you see this. I hope you're acting in alignment to make all that you wish to experience your reality. I hope that whatever you need along your path, journey, and way, you find. And I hope you an ability to find peace with where you are and a constant knowing of where you want to go, where you're going, or where you want to go and why. And for, yeah, to not focus on the things you can't control. I feel like I read something like that recently in a book. It had to be the mausolea, right? It's fine. It was something about, I don't remember if it was the ageless. I almost feel like it was the ageless, but it could have been the maestro. I feel like something in that book mentioned the things that like we can't control and like being at peace with the things that we can't control or something like that. Yeah. Anyway, it's just I don't know if it, yeah. I'll catch y'all later. Bye.